Well, what's up, guys? Skap here. Still trying to catch my breath from this frenetic and insane overtime thriller. Game 1, Clippers, Nuggets, and damn, was this really just game 1 of these NBA playoffs? It's gonna feel like the Nuggets expended enough energy for this to be 3 or 4 games probably when they look back on it tonight, as the starters played heavy minutes. 4 of the 5 starters logging at least 45 minutes in this overtime instant thriller. But the Nuggets do get the win, steal the game, and it's not very often that you will use the terminology of stealing the game in a home game 1 with a generational player, the best player on planet Earth, arguably should be the league MVP. They're at home, they're favored, and yet they were not the better team in this game. It was pretty plain, clear, and obvious to see right from the very get-go. The Clippers were dominating this game early. They opened up a massive lead early on. They were up 15 at one point in the second quarter. Really looked as if they were just kind of toying with the Nuggets. The Nuggets defense predictably did not look good. Speaking of their defense, they are the 21st ranked defense, net defense coming into the playoffs. That would be the worst team in the NBA playoff field defensively. It was showing early on, but for the last 3 quarters, the Nuggets played quite well defensively. In fact, they hold the Clippers to only 98 points through the end of regulation, 110 when you factor in the overtime session. And they played much better for the last 3 quarters and overtime on that end against the Clippers team that, look, they ended the season very strongly. You can make a case the Clippers have been the best team in the NBA over the last month to end the season. It wouldn't really be a very difficult case to make at all. They ended the year on an 8-game winning streak, winners of 18 of their 21 overall, 18 of their last 21 coming into the playoffs. And over the final month of the regular season, would you believe that the LA Clippers actually were the number 1 rated net offense in the NBA? Over that same span of time, they were the number 3 rated net defense, and they were number 1 overall in total net rating, above the Thunder and Celtics in that order. And over the last month, the Clippers' only 2 losses was a tight game to the Thunder and a tight game to the Cavaliers. So the Clippers, to say they came in playing like the best team in basketball is not hyperbolic. They really did. Meanwhile, their opponents on the other end, the Denver Nuggets, came in playing like hot ass. And that is not hyperbolic either to say. They were playing like such ass that they fired their head coach with 3 games remaining, fired their general manager with 3 games remaining, the same day they fired their head coach for the last 10 years, Michael Malone, installed this interim guy that has never really coached at the head level at any level. He's never coached the head position at any level outside of high school. So this was going to be a very interesting playoff run for the Denver Nuggets, and it looks like if the Nuggets are going to win this series, it will be in 7. They barely squeaked this one out despite a tremendous game by Nikola Jokic. He had 29 points, 12 assists, 9 rebounds, and 3 steals. And the degree of difficulty on this game for Jokic is extreme. The Clippers, the aforementioned 3rd-rated defense in the NBA, the Clippers, they've been top 5 all year, even with the games that Kawhi Leonard missed. But they've got also Zubac, perfectly positioned to defend Nikola Jokic. In fact, he is the best defender of Nikola Jokic since Jokic entered the NBA 10 years ago. Zubac is the only qualified player over that span of time who has held Nikola Jokic under 45% from the field in isolation situations. So he is the best defender against Jokic, and yet Jokic with oh ho hum, just about a 30-point triple-double, which of course this guy averaged on the season. It's pretty much what he drops in every postseason over the last 4 or 5 season run. You know what you're going to get from Nikola Jokic. The question always is, the question will remain, what are the other guys going to do? What will the other supporting players provide? And in this game, it really wasn't much outside of Aaron Gordon, who had a masterful game, 25 points on a smooth and efficient 8 of 14 from the field. But aside from that, Russell Westbrook was probably the most impactful player of the whole lot for the Denver Nuggets. And Russ, I mean, my God, 5 of 17 from the field. He did make a number of big plays, forcing a late turnover in overtime down the stretch on Harden. And of course, he drilled a massive 3 nearing the end of regulation to put the Nuggets up 2. Ultimately, very good Russ there. But as it typically is, a tale of good Russ and bad Russ, we saw bad Russ rear his ugly head on the final possession of the Nuggets in regulation. They didn't even get a shot off and had to go into overtime. But of course, they did seize control. A number of big plays, including a Christian Brown clutch 3 with just about a minute remaining to really put them over the top. And then Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic with a couple clutch free throws on their end to hold off the surging Clippers down the stretch. But this looks like it's going to be a very tight series, a very competitive series, probably is going to go 7. You got to think the Nuggets are not feeling very good about themselves, again, having to hold on for dear life after fighting back and scrapping from that early 15-point deficit at home in Game 1. The Clippers, meanwhile, have to be feeling pretty good. They let a lot of things get away from them in this game. They were pretty much having their way early on. They had a lot of self-inflicted turnovers and mistakes and errors in this game. 20 turnovers for the Clippers on the game really held the Nuggets into it. Basically, it looks like the Nuggets cannot win this series unless they get some help from the Clippers. And in this one, the Clippers were very accommodating in their self-inflicted turnovers and just some weird substitution patterns, I think, for Ty Lue in this one. The bench really didn't show through. Going into this series, you would figure that the Clippers had a massive advantage on the bench, but the Nuggets actually outscored the Clippers bench unit in this one, thanks largely to Russell Westbrook's 17 points, but again, took him 15 shots to get them. And speaking of some of the other starters and a low percentage shooting, Jamal Murray, this scrub. Jamal Murray, the tale as old as time. Basically, since the 2023 title run, Jamal Murray has just been so utterly inconsistent in these games, in high leverage playoff situations. This game was no different. He scored 21 points, but it took him 20 shots to get there. Total volume scoring, just like he was last year in the playoffs. Sure, he averaged 20 points per game in the postseason last year on 20 shot attempts, barely out of the 30s. He shot just barely 40% last year in the postseason. 7 of 20, good for 35% in this one. And then we get to Michael Porter Jr. Unbelievable. This scrub plays only 26 minutes. He was the only Nugget starter to register in the negatives on plus minus, a -8 in those 26 minutes. And how does 3 points on 1 of 4 shooting grab you from the field? Michael Porter Jr., this guy is making $38 million annually. $38 million a year, $38 million this year for 3 points in an overtime game in the postseason. This is the outright scrubbishness which has been plaguing Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets, thanks to the king idiot general manager that they had that surrounded Jokic with these buffoonish scrub-like players, Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray at the top. Jamal Murray did contribute in a couple other areas in this game. He filled out the stat sheet. He did make a couple big shots down the stretch, but he's going to have to be so much better than 35% shooting from the field if the Nuggets are going to do anything in this postseason, if they're even going to win this series. Because we saw that the Clippers' three-headed monster over there of Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and Zubac, they showed up and they performed very well tonight. James Harden, most of all, a tremendous game for little game James Larden, who typically is at his worst during these times of the year. He 32 points, 11 assists, 6 rebounds for him. Massive game. Kawhi Leonard was kind of picking his spots, it felt like, throughout the course of that one. He contributed 22 points. And then Zubac, really good game from him, 21. All of them shot high efficiency. Ultimately, not enough to overcome the Nuggets. Really, their passion and energy. They were obviously lifted by that home court arena. And this was a game for the taking, obviously, for the Clippers. They were up at every stage of the game. This was a 3-point game at the end of the third quarter, 75-72. Jokic at that point had 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. And in the third quarter, he had scored or assisted on 18 of the 23 Nuggets points in that third quarter. And when he went to the bench to rest at the beginning of the fourth quarter, there was a graphic up on the game telecast that showed that the Nuggets were +3 with Jokic on the floor at that point in time through 3 quarters, -6 with him off the floor. But the real mind-blowing element of the graphic was the fact that the Nuggets were shooting 46% collectively as a team with Jokic on the floor, 20% as a team at that point through 3 quarters with him off the floor. So obviously the Nuggets were struggling mightily offensively with this guy off the court. Of course, much is made of Nikola Jokic's defense, the Nuggets defense, but again, they did play very solid in this game. 110 total points in 53 minutes of play. Nothing to sneeze at. You'll take that all day long if you're the Denver Nuggets. And ultimately, this is just what the Nuggets are going to be. They're going to be smoke and mirrors. They're going to be on the back of Nikola Jokic, trying to find their way to steal games. And they're just going to have to outplay, out-hustle, and utilize the energy to just kind of outwork these teams throughout the playoffs. The Clippers, this is a great test for them early on. Either way, they were going to get a difficult first-round opponent. It went into the last game of the regular season with the Nuggets and the prospect of facing these Clippers, who were very hot, winners of 8 straight to end the season, or the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have kind of had the Denver Nuggets number. So if the Nuggets can find their way through this first round, it will obviously get no easier into the second round, as they are on the side of the Oklahoma City Thunder on that 1-8 bracket. But this is a step in the right direction, obviously, since David Adelman took over now for Michael Malone. The Nuggets are undefeated. They closed the season 3-0, winning the 3 games after Malone was fired, and then win this playoff game, this tight, harrowing 2-point overtime victory to run Adelman's record up to 4-0 now. So obviously the Nuggets are looking better under him. They are exuding more energy, effort on both sides of the ball. Their defense has looked markedly better under Adelman. So we will have to wait and see. I was not very confident about the Nuggets' chances going into this series, going into today's game ultimately. The Nuggets probably, like I said, cannot be feeling good about this win. This is a game they had to have. You have to win game 1s at home in a series. Very difficult historically to get back when you're fighting the uphill battle after dropping game 1. So it's a game they had to have. They got it, but it wasn't pretty at all, and the Clippers certainly could tighten some things up and probably would have had a much easier way around this game. I think they'll make the adequate adjustments moving forward. Ty Lue is one of the best in the game, so it's going to be interesting to see, obviously, what game 2 holds in store, but a great start for the Nuggets. A great start for the soon-to-be snubbed 4-time league MVP. He's only going to have 3 here after this season. Nikola Jokic, just a ho-hum game for him. This is probably going to be the average for him, playing against, again, Zubac, who is perfectly positioned to defend him. And Zubac, is going to be probably in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. He might win Defensive Player of the Year this year. He's going to be first-team All-NBA, probably one of the 3 finalists for that award, the Depoy Award. And, Jokic, it just doesn't seem to bother him. He made Zubac look pretty silly from time to time, but he gets these defensive stalwarts, it seems, every round, every season. He gets Rudy Gobert pretty much every playoffs, who's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year winner. He gets Anthony Davis, it seems like, every year in the playoffs, who is generally first-team All-NBA defense when he's healthy. Doesn't really matter. Nikola Jokic is going to put up his numbers. What kind of support can he get? That's going to be the burning questions moving on into the remainder of these playoffs. Today, they kind of pieced it together with a big game from Gordon. Christian Brown was okay. And Russell Westbrook, again, pretty big off the bench despite his lack of efficiency. Jamal Murray's got to be much better ultimately. Michael Porter Jr., Boy, it would be nice if he at least shows up, but we will see what Game 2 holds in store for us. Guys, I'm going to be doing this more throughout the postseason. I'd like to be getting some more live interaction with you guys, so keep an eye out for that. I might be doing some watch parties, live watch parties during the games, but I'm going to be getting on camera more in this postseason, talking about more of the games, putting out more content, so keep your eyes out for that. Please, if you are not subscribed, make sure you do so now at this time here on YouTube. You can also follow me now on Rumble as well as X. Information on that in the description to this video. I'm also going to be unrolling an Instagram page and let me think here, a TikTok page as well. I don't really know much about these social media things, but keep your eye out for that. I'll talk about it in these videos and give you some more description below whenever that happens. And of course, we have some more big games tonight, so stay tuned. I probably will have to talk about LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Ant Edwards in that tasty little morsel of the Lakers and Minnesota nightcap. So probably going to slide something out on that. And of course, we are now just starting on this journey that is the postseason. Probably about 40 or 50 days straight of games every night, frenetic NBA action. So guys, stay tuned for more from me. Until next time.